In the winter of 1998–99, few elements of the Pakistani armed forces were covertly training and sending Pakistani troops along with terror elements. When the infiltration of these Pakistani regular and irregular troops were observed by the Indian Army, intense shelling from the frustrated neighbor was witnessed along the line of control. Considered to be one of the best examples of high-altitude warfare in mountainous terrain that posed significant logistical problems for the combating, India had launched the operation with code name Operation Safed Sagar, to flush out all Pakistani elements. In this operation, Indian Air Force along with Indian Army nullified the threats posed by troublesome neighbor. And, in front of the lethal strikes conducted by the Indian Air Force was the mighty MiG-27, which carried out air-to-ground attacks to neutralize enemy forces and their operational bases. MiG-27 fighter aircraft has been the backbone of ground attack fleet of Indian Air Force, IAF, for the past 4 decades. Due to its lethal role it played during the 1999 Operation Safed Sagar at Kargil. This aircraft earned the moniker Bahadur from Indian Air Force pilots. The fleet of MiG-27s earned its glory in the Kargil conflict, and it dropped rockets and bombs with accuracy on enemy targets. Group Captain Nachiketa Rao, who was captured by Pakistani troops after a crash during the battle, was also flying a MiG-27. Indian Air Force had 165 MiG-27s in its hangar earlier, which were all licensed produced by Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. However, it is learned that there were only 15 at IAF's disposal before they took off for the last time. A majority of these aircraft will be used as decoys in multiple air bases in the Western Air Command, and few might be gifted to various interested institutions. With a max speed of Mach 1.6, the MiG-27 is a single-engine, single-seater tactical strike aircraft, which mainly carried out air-to-ground strike missions. These Soviet-based combat aircraft carried up to 4,000 kilograms of armament externally, when the situation demanded. In 1982, MiG-27 combat aircraft were inducted into the Indian Air Force and were upgraded in 2005. In course of upgradation, the airframe remained unaltered, the avionics and instrumentation system underwent upgradation along with upgradation in weapons that enabled it to fire ammunitions precisely. The induction of MiG-27s came at times when the nation was facing technological disadvantage over Pakistan and China. To meet the long-term requirements of the Indian Air Force to maintain aerial supremacy, it was considered to procure MiG-27s, the export version of the upgraded MiG-23BNs. The upgraded version of MiG-27s have participated in various national and international exercises due to its rate of availability. Also, the fleet has played pivotal role in Operation Parakram. Indian Air Force's No. 29 Squadron is the only unit that was operating the MiG-27 upgrades in recent times. The squadron was raised on March 10, 1958 at Air Force Station Hawara with the Auragain Tufani aircraft. Over the years, the squadron has been equipped with numerous types of fighter aircraft including MiG-21 Type 77, MiG-21 Type 96, MiG-27mm and MiG-27 upgrade. Decades. Together, the highest number of MiG fighter aircraft were operated by the Indian Air Force, other than Russia. In early 1960s, the MiGs entered into the Indian Air Force, when they were inducted into No. 28 Squadron, also known as 1st Supersonics. This squadron had comprised of 9 MiG-21s in its early days. Following the induction of MiG-21s, Indian Air Force inducted 160 MiG-23 fighters in both air superiority and ground strike variants, in late 1970s. The performance of these two aircraft with ever-increasing requirement drove the Indian Air Force to induct the MiG-27s. These Bahadurs were built on MiG-23's basic design and swing wings. The design was optimized to fly at supersonic speeds at extremely low altitude to evade detection by radar for ground strike missions. In a statement, MOD said, "The squadron is now slated to be number-plated on March 31, 2020 with December 27, 2019 being its last flying day, thereby making the swing wing fleet a part of IAF's glorious past." These aircraft have made an immense contribution to the nation, both during peace and war. The fleet earned its glory in the historic Kargil conflict, and it delivered rockets and bombs with accuracy on enemy positions, the Ministry of Defense said in a statement. With the last of the MiG-27 aircraft, the Bahadur of the Kargil conflict, flying their final sortie in Jodhpur before retiring from service, the strength of Indian Air Force has dropped down to 28 squadrons of fighters as against a sanctioned 42. Adding to the worries of Indian Air Force is the nearing of retirement of MiG-21s, which are likely to be relieved off their duties by 2022 to 23. However, the Indian Air Force plans to induct 5 new squadrons of combat aircraft to balance the deficient combat arm. The planned squadrons is inclusive of 1 squadron of Tejas Mark I, 2 squadrons of Rafale and 2 of Sukhoi 30 MKIs. Citing the production rate of Tejas at HAL and procurement of defense assets, the aforementioned squadrons might be available during 2025 to 26. In addition to the list of inclusion of fighter platforms, the IAF is also negotiating with Russia to buy another MiG-29 squadron.